This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Dan O'Brien, K-State Research and Extension Grain Market Analyst, joins us. And Dan, even though nothing officially has happened yet, the looming threat of tariffs has soybean producers worried about what could be coming if the United States and China don't agree on some type of a compromise for both parties.
Without question. I think that there are questions that have affected the confidence of soybean producers here in the U.S. with regard to where, first of all, Chinese input demand might come from, and again, how it might affect our exports. I do think that the announcement made by the Chinese has caused a shifting around of the directional flow of business. There are reports within the last week or so, but even Argentina, a major exporter of soybeans, now pulling beans into their own country. And I think that this is symptomatic of their short crop on the one hand, and also what's likely a temporary demand pull for Chinese soybeans out of Brazil. So with China focusing on Brazil, it's causing a shifting around of business in the world. If you look at 2007, 2008, the world is using about 230 million metric tons of soybeans. What's projected now for this marketing year is 342, so well over 100 million metric ton increase, and a growth at about a 4.9% rate per year. And then with that, and exports over that time have also increased basically at a rate of about 9% per year. What I wonder about is where we'll be after the Brazilian supplies play out in a month or so, and China, as a buyer, has very limited options in terms of other places in the world to turn. If there's going to be a disruption in trade, this was the time to have it, basically, when the Brazilian supplies were available. Well, what happens when the Brazilian supplies are not so available 2, 3, 4 months down the road? By that time, I would think we probably have a resolution to these current discussions and the necessity of China, other countries, to have to come to the U.S. for supplies. In the long term, we see no abatement in the growth of world demand for soybeans. I would see this as more of a question how in this 2018 time period, how flows will work themselves around for users in these various countries to still get their supplies. The supplies that they need for livestock feeding, for crush, for oil production. From there, we'll see where we all go.
All right, Dan, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg. Take care.
That's Dan O'Brien, K-State Research and Extension Grain Market Analyst, who joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more with Dwayne Taves and Brad Carman, Assistant Deputy Secretary of Farm Programs at USDA.
What if U.S. soybean oil were an industry sensation? If end users started asking for it by name? That future is here. The time is now. To meet customer demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in varieties that produce oil with increased functionality. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.